I would like to invite our last presenter, Mr. Joaquim Macedo de Sousa, to present Instituto Pedro Nunes from Coimbra. He will present an incubator and accelerator program. And he will actually, as he explained also to us, present how they support young professionals in building up their businesses with the mentoring program and also helping them to build up their own business and also create new jobs in the regions. Mr. Joaquim, please.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you today here. Just let me share my screen so that, and to make sure that everyone is being able to see what I'm going to be sharing. Is it already there, the presentation and my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
We see it.
The full screen?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, great. Let me just move this here. I'm more used to using Zoom, not Teams, but I will sure be proficient with Teams very soon. Okay. So yes, as Misha mentioned, we are not what could be considered a regular BEP in the sense that Instituto Pedro Nunes is not an education institution, although we are affiliated to the University of Coimbra. So in that sense, we can be considered a BEP, and I will be happy to share with you the kind of partnerships that we bring between academia and in the sense that we work with entrepreneurs that have been just graduated, so masters, even PhDs, okay, and try to help them create their own jobs as entrepreneurs, their own companies. So we were founded more than 30 years ago in 1990 as an initiative of the University of Coimbra. And yes, the objective was, or the mission was just to try to bring these capillary relationships between academia and the market or the business. And we are a private organization affiliated with the University of Coimbra, as I just mentioned, also the Polytechnic University of Coimbra, several other public organizations, and also private partners. So you can see here our facilities. Down are the labs, the older facilities from IPN, where we have been grown ever since. And so on top here, it's the incubator and the recent space incubator, and just above it's the accelerator. So as I will explain soon, we not only have an accelerator program, but we also do have a program for physical acceleration. And how do we carry out our mission? In three levels of activities. R&D, so we have laboratories that help researchers trying to develop new or novel, innovative products. In the middle, the activities that we are probably most well known for, which is incubation and acceleration, but also training, specialized training, because as we are working with entrepreneurs that have recently graduated, very seldom they do have the skills to run their businesses. So things are changing now in the undergraduate, even graduate, master, and PhD programs. We are having entrepreneurship unit courses, management, and so forth and so on. But still, there is a need to help them gain these skills, not only the hard skills for management, but especially the soft skills as entrepreneurs. So this is the broad spectrum of activities from our R&D laboratories. So these laboratories are quite specific. I will not go into detail because I'm going to be more focused on incubation, of course, but our labs work as a startup. So our CEO is not necessarily a scientist, but rather a person that is able to manage the laboratory as if it was a startup, and to try to bring the products, the R&D services to the market in the way in the prices and in the times that are really needed. So of course we do have scientists on board. They are kind of what you could say they are the board management, the top management, but the operational management is always on the end of a trained manager, but of course with also training on science. So the incubator, we've been working not from the beginning when IPN was founded, but as of 1996, we supported almost 500 companies so far. These are numbers that are taken from the tax office from Portugal. These are not based on surveys that are sent to entrepreneurs, because otherwise we could not get the answers, or we could get numbers that are not real. So when we say that 60% of our companies are in activity, it means that formally they are paying their taxes to the government, okay? And when we say that their annual business turnover from 2023 is over 600 million euros, again, it's from the tax office numbers. So the majority of the products that are being sold are targeting exports. So, and this is very important from the beginning. So 28 years after, we've been able to help startups, and that's of course their activities, and we are only supporting them. So it's on them, but they have been able to create more than 7,400 jobs, highly qualified jobs, not only for the entrepreneurs themselves, but for other people that they are bringing into the companies as employees, and many of them also very highly qualified. And as I will show in a short time, the average salary from these startups is much higher than the Portuguese average salary. So, and how do we run our incubator services? So not all companies that apply for the incubator are accepted. So there are two thresholds. The first, we are just assessing the idea. Does this make sense? Is this innovative? Are the entrepreneurs fully committed to this project? Because it's tricky. Sometimes when they are research scientists or engineers, they are so involved in their activities in the university or in other companies that they are not really committed. So they have an idea, perhaps they want to become an entrepreneur, but at this point in time, they are not ready to make the leap in order to become full-time entrepreneurs. So, and we want to assess all of that, not only the idea, but their commitment, the team. So there's a first threshold, and we are assessing that. And then if it's a go, they are moving into our pre-incubation phase, which is a virtual incubation. And that's where we render most of these services, because we are targeting a pipeline of events that starts with the idea. We help them bring this idea into a value proposition, design the business model, help them run a proper business plan, because as we all know, unlike the United States, failing here in Europe, it's very tragic. So it's not good to put in your resume that you've been able to fail as an entrepreneur and you went bankrupt several times. So it's very important to run a proper business plan. And that's where our incubator services enter. So we again, most of them have no training on management, and we help them gaining those skills, but also mentoring. That's why we consider, in the framework of what Robert mentioned of this BEP, we see ourselves more as a mentoring BEP. This is very important. There is, in the literature, it is mentioned that one of the most often cases for failure as entrepreneurs is the loneliness syndrome amongst entrepreneurs. And we try to deal with that by mentoring them, by being always there on one hand, but on the other hand, as mentors, try to gave them the skills as entrepreneurs, which is more in the sense of soft skills. Okay, so we don't have a form that there is no certificate after they enter our program, but as we will see very soon, the best certificate that they can bring is they've been an IPN company, they succeeded, and they have a great turnover. Okay. Mentoring is, as I mentioned, very important, and we help them on all the areas that we feel that is needed for building a successful company. Okay. IP, project management, even further on recruiting. So when you start growing your company, what are the skills that you need? What are the profiles that you need? How do you deal with your employees? Because that's something that you will it's not very often that you gain those competencies from formal education or from a university course. How do you deal with people? No? The human factor. So, and we are always there as mentors, trying to help them motivate employees. This is very important because as startups, they don't have the money to pay great salaries. So motivating the employees is so important. And that's why we help them as mentors. Not only the staff from IPN, but from the ecosystem, other people that are affiliated with the IPN because they have been working with us in programs, other entrepreneurs, more graduate and more experienced entrepreneurs that can also help mentoring new startups, sharing with them as peers what have been their challenges, how they've been able to face those challenges. And we have been very lucky to be recognized for our work. So we've been consistently recognized as one of the top 10 university-affiliated business incubators. And in fact, in 2018, it was my pleasure because I was there in the event. We were awarded as the 5th in the world, and as from there, they only ranked the first, and then the other 9, we don't know which ranks from 2 to 10. Okay, but so this again, this is not a measure of our success ourselves per se, but the success of our entrepreneurs. Okay. The profiles, as I mentioned, we work with people that just came from the academia. So you can see here that the majority in 2024 have been spin-off companies. This means that they are formally incorporated after a program from the university, namely from the tech transfer office. Okay, but the other 8, it doesn't mean that they are not students that have studied in the University of Coimbra, for instance. No, it just means that they are not being formally supported by the tech transfer office, but many of them are former University of Coimbra students. So the accelerated as a physical building hosts different profiles of companies. At this point, they are boosting their growth. They are internationalizing even more. So they are trying to get more sophisticated technology. So there is of course, it's been working for less time, not from 1996 as the incubator, but it's normal that we support their less companies because we have the space which is larger than in the incubator, but the average area for the companies is much larger because we are talking about larger companies with more employees that have different needs from a startup with average 35 square meter office. So our space incubator, this was just built 2 years ago. We've been as of 2014, a major player in Portugal for the ISA. So we've been both an ISA technology broker, ISA business application, and an ambassador of Portugal. Only another institution, I think it's in Ireland, that has these 3 missions from the ISA as well. And we support companies, 69 over the last 10 years. These are their turnover, over 6 million. It might seem surprising for some that work with larger companies why they have such a small turnover, because they are startups, and soon they will boost their growth, of course. But as startups less than 10 years, it's normal to have turnovers that are not very exciting. But believe me, once you are able to sell in 1 year more than 1 million euros, and you are still a very small company, you feel yourself very successful. Okay, let's move forward. So we also have an acceleration program. So just to make it everyone clear, one thing is the accelerator facility as a physical building, okay? For the accelerating program, we are not accelerating companies. We are accelerating ideas. Most of them are ideas. So, of course, there are ideas that have some level or some level of maturity. Okay, they are not just ideas simply that just came out of the lab. So they must have had some traction. So they must have some relation to the market. Perhaps some of them are already selling, not only getting the feedbacks from the market. And this is for tech-based ideas. Okay, we have been we were in the 13th edition last year. So we've supported hundreds of teams, and we have had a lot of mentors, not only from IPN, but also from other companies, from other institutions that are affiliated with IPN. And some, if you see this as a process, and actually it is a final slide, but most of the companies would start from here. They would be part of the accelerating program. Then they will apply to the incubation program. After 4 years as startups in the incubator, they can move to the accelerator. So we only allow startups to be in the incubator facilities up to 4 years, okay? Then we will invite them to move to the accelerator. And if they've been successful enough, they will, by now, been able to have their own facilities, renting or even building them. And this is some details on training that I just mentioned, which is the other activity that we also have at IPN. So I was mentioning this earlier. So this is the real measure of success, I would say. So entrepreneurs, former students are not only being able to create their own jobs, but they are paying in average more than it's being paid in Portugal. Of course, these are tech-based companies, and eventually, because most of them are, they have a degree, they are supposed to earn more money. But we feel this is a very important graphic to show the impact of our activities. Again, not formal, of our programs and we have been helping and supporting startups being successful in paying, I would say, average good salaries, at least in the Portuguese arena. And this is another graphic that makes us very proud. So when we say that we are investing in startups, some of these investment comes from public funds. We are giving back much more than we are investing as public funding. So in 2022, this is the last year that we have available this information. The taxes that our startups paid were 14.7 more times than the subsidies that we receive. So for each euro that we receive, that our startups receive in subsidies, they pay back in taxes 14.7 euros. So let me end by telling you just a short story about some entrepreneurs that came from the construction industry, which I think it's very helpful for the Habitable project. So these are founders that have had some experience in the industry before, civil engineers and an architect. They came to our INEO program, the acceleration program in January 2016. Afterwards, they were incubated with us for 4 years, and they have been so successful that they have been able to build their own facilities. Of course, they are from the construction industry. That's something that would be expecting. So they're not only doing the regular stuff for architecture and engineering. And I say the regular stuff because That is not my background, so I have no idea. Perhaps I'm saying something wrong. But interestingly, they also, from the beginning, bringing software and developing new software to the market in order to support their value proposition in terms of architecture and engineering. They've been quite successful in terms of revenue. They've been growing consistently. They also have an academy to help new students to enter the industry market. And just for wrapping up, again, we are specific BEP, BEP. We help entrepreneurs to become employers for their own jobs, creating their own jobs. We are targeting, of course, emerging fields fully aligned with EU priorities, not only with funding, but also with the market. And we feel from the feedback that we get from our entrepreneurs that we are on the right track. So this is our information, and I'm, of course, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer the questions and remain at your disposal for further clarifications.
Great, thank you very much, Joaquim, for your great presentation, and especially while you're not feeling your best today. I think you're a little bit sick. Thank you very much for joining us, for having this presentation.